Okay, we're in San Francisco. This is Adam Cahoon, who's looking back through Artzone 461 to see all the people who've come to look at his paintings. He's an artist who's on Saturday, September 17th, 2011, has a show. What's the whole show called?
The show's called Portraits of an Absurd Nature.
Nancy has a reaction to this painting, which is a guy upside down. I just asked for people's reactions to these paintings. So, Nancy, what do you think?
My reaction is it's an amazing painting, and I literally, it's a guy being like, oh shit, my head's in the grass, or my head's in the sand, oh shit, I did something wrong.
Okay. So, give us the title of this painting.
The title is 1 Unit of Infinity.
Stand a little closer to it so I can get you both. There. That's Adam. That's Adam.
So it's called 1 Unit of Infinity.
Yep.
It's, like the title of the show, Portraits of an Absurd Nature. It's meant to be some element of nature or science that is absurd. The portraits, it's not absurd portraits, it's absurd nature. And this is I'm using kind of this forest scene to kind of paint a portrait of infinity. And in my mind, infinity is not. I don't think infinity is a number. It's everything. It's some great, complete thing that cannot be broken down into parts. And I'm trying to kind of expose that in this piece. Whereas you don't get to infinity by starting at 1 and counting through 2, 3, 4, 5. Infinity is not a number at the end of a chain. It's the entirety of everything. And so
it's happening all at once.
Right. And so I'm trying to kind of make a parody of that with this, and I'm showing that in this kind of larger landscape is an even larger landscape stuck in the middle of it, with the idea that the closer you get to this one is another landscape, the closer you get to that is another landscape. So
okay, will you point out the several sections?
Well, this is just actually quite literally. This is meant to be like a very close foreground that the viewer can kind of put themselves in, like they're standing in the leaves. And then you move up into the mountain range, but then past that is another landscape that this mountain range is kind of resting in. And then I kind of use these.
The colors you were explaining.
Yeah, the kind of almost a cliched, palette of blues and greens to give it that kind of cartoon sense of like fog and mystery and depth and showing that there's something past this that we're not supposed to understand quite yet.
Okay, did you intend it to be cartoony?
No. I use only the color, only the kind of the teals and the blues in the back. I think it's just a really easy trigger. It's not meant to, you're supposed to live here. Like that's just,
You're supposed to live down in the mountain part or in the front part?
Well, both. You stand here, but this is the subject of the story.
You stand in the leaves, but the subject of the story is you're going into infinity.
In the mountain range within the forest.
In the mountain range within the forest. Okay. And it's called Peering into Workshop with Indoor Forest. It's a diptych.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Antonio, can you tell me your thoughts about this painting? What it means to you and why you were drawn to it?
Well, first of all, I found it to be a very complex painting because Adam tried to achieve a lot with this painting, and the way that I read it is when I see the painting, I see a still life, I see portraiture, I see landscape, I see abstract shapes, I see contemporary, I see classic. So I see a perfect balance of all of these styles coexisting here in the painting.
Stop and show each part of that you see, and then I'll focus on each one.
Right, so let's start with all the very classic portraiture. This is an inspiration on Velázquez. So this is a homage to Velázquez. Here we have a homage to Monet. And it's a very classic portraiture. And he juxtaposed that with still lifes.
Yeah, so still life is down here with the bird.
Right, and it's a very messy still life, as we all can see.
Very messy.
Yes, very messy, very energetic. It's almost like fury here, you know. So you see a lot of energy here.
And the bird has died, and obviously it's crashed into something. There are twigs.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay.
So, and then you can see through what it seems to be windows, and then you see landscape. So there is a landscape, a natural landscape here. On the other end of the diptych, we have a landscape with furniture, like a patio, so it's affected by men. And then we see all these modern shapes, all these plots, floating, all these models.
All those circles.
Yeah, circles, donuts, just structures floating inside the room. So for me, when I see this painting, I see color, I see black and white, I see portraiture, and it amazes me the perfect balance that everything can coexist in such a small canvas. In that sense, my own interpretation here is that we have the past in the black and white. Oh, by the way, there is a whale here.
A whale? I wondered. Yeah.
There is a whale.
The whale.
There is an ocean.
Yeah.
So it's even an oceanic painting, you know, even that. So I see the past in the black and white, gray, you know, paintings. I see the present inside in the room, and I see the future with the shapes. And I think that he captured the perfect essence of the present time, you know, chaos, a sense of loss, a sense of, you know, that we have lost things, that society, economies are crashing. I see all of that there. And
chaos.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then I see the future. The future is there. It's there to be achieved. It's just kind of touching us. It's like kind of flirting with us, you know, here and there.
Is this a typical style that you use? You were saying that you changed your style recently.
Right. Well, my style previous to this show has been entirely abstract, like recognizable forms, but that, you know, were pods and geometric shapes. And I found that those, you know, I could make sense of those, or those made sense to me, but in order for a viewer to understand what I was trying to convey with those pieces, I would have to be standing next to the painting, explaining it to the person, and I think that's fine. But if you want to show in a public venue such as this, I kind of feel like the viewer needs to be able to get as much of it, or at least get, you know, a healthy amount of meaning out of it, without you standing right there next to them. And so I'm kind of trying to paint the same subjects that I've kind of always been painting, but in a natural environment. So, you know, the viewer can see the leaves. They can say, "I recognize that. I can investigate this further." There's more comfort there because they see this as a forest, you know, and everyone can recognize a forest, and then they can hopefully, you know, get more out of the piece.
I really like the primates.
You like primates, just primates.
Yeah, and I just like how his head resembles a skull. You know?
Say again.
I like how his head resembles a skull. Kind of. You know, with the eyes, kind of just like all black, like a skull. It just has like a skull feature to it, and I just really like that. And I like how it's kind of pixelated in the background.
You mean this part up in here?
Yeah, all this stuff. You know, it reminds me of like a pixelated picture.
The way I'm painting now, there's more room to paint. I have more, you know, I feel like what I was doing before with just the abstract stuff, I was kind of coming to a wall. That I can only push that work so far. Whereas like with this, I feel like, you know, the ideas can be endless. You know, I have so many subject matters I can pull from.
You can push it to infinity. Emerging into the shadow of anti-light. What her reactions are to this painting. And I'll just pan over it a little bit. So, Christine.
Hi.
What do you think?
Well, one of the things that I love about Adam's paintings is his use of color. I mean, there's such a passion for it that I think it's just really enlightening in his work. He also has the ability to play with a lot of texture, and the substance all kind of feeds into it. I think what's really, really wonderful about Adam's work is from seeing it now at this show, I see a very a very calculated, not necessarily departure, but almost like a growth between where he was at a few years ago and where he's at now. A lot of his work, I felt, before used a lot of the same color, but it was very, like the structure was very academic. Like there was very clean precision to everything. And what I like about what's happening now with Adam is I think that there's a lot of subtlety that happens from just letting the medium do what it does best. There's a lot of like experimentation,
can you show us what you mean by letting the medium do what it does?
I mean, like there's like this little area right here. I mean, it takes a very fine hand to like notice that, because I think what's cool about Adam's work is that he has so many different observations of things. Like he's a very technical artist. Like he's an artist in the sense that he's able to execute a picture and have it be readable. But then he also does like these very like beautiful abstract things where you let the paint get messy and you let it kind of mix.
It's a found piece that happened while it was. And he's very focused on what technically is work. Right. He's a perfectionist.
But he draws a lot from what he loves too, which is what I love about his work. Is that a lot of the content is like very narrative for Adam. You know, it's what it's kind of internalizing and what he appreciates. Like these lines. We had a conversation the other day about like color bar dresses, like lines. Like he told me he had a piece that was based off a Kate Spade dress that he saw like a couple months ago, and this is the piece. You know, like he's drawing from all these sources and kind of like communicating them in a way for himself, but they're beautiful pieces of work. You know, like he's in a way like documenting for his sake, like to create a memory for himself, which I think is really great. But there's like a lot of, I think, mastery in creating these like landscapes, like these dreamscapes that are also very palatable and like accessible to people. Like they aren't like wastelands. They're not like distant. They feel like tangible, which is really cool. Adam,
they're not off-putting. They don't push you away.
They don't.
They pull you in. Yeah.
There's like a lot of very, very, very lush detail. Like, I mean, the colors are so like electric. This is bold, like the contrast between these. And he didn't use very many colors at all, you know. But he's really good at drawing the eye around, like the forms, the negative shapes. Like he really, really tries to create these like full experiences. It's really, really cool. I love his work. It's good.
I love what you just said. It's so good. I hope that we can hear it with all the noise behind
I hope so.
That was superb. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Bust of Siren and the Rocks.
Hello, folks. Thank you for coming out. You should pay homage to Adam Cahoon, an amazing artist and good friend of mine. But I particularly love this one. Just the beauty of it, like the simplicity in the lips, and then as well, like his work has a science fiction feel to it that I adore, and the geometric shapes and the absurdity of that with the organicness of like the human form and nature is the perfect blend in his work, and I really appreciate this one just because the beauty of this woman's figure is absolutely adored, and then as well just abstracted by the geometric shapes, which I believe enhances it even more. It's what you don't see that you adore. The beautiful pink lips are there, but I mean, you just imagine these eyes that are taken into this black hole in this space.
Jordan is an excellent artist too, and I went to see a show of his at, where was that? That was on Van Ness. What was the name of that place?
Oh, it's Phil's Coffee on Van Ness.
And I was told Phil's has the most amazing coffee.
They do.
Jordan's paintings are absolutely great. He catches moments, you know, that you recognize, and it's a lot about the TL and about the things that you see in that environment. So if you tell us your full name, so for folks to go and see your stuff.
Jordan Brian Getz. My work is very autobiographical. I think that kind of is inspired by my photographic work, but the paintings are autobiographical in that I moved to the Tenderloin a year and a half ago as a single father. and it's just that point of view of being, and when people cringe about a neighborhood or they have their perception of it, I completely try to demolish that because I felt very welcomed with just open arms by the neighborhood. Haven't had any problems, and so it's just my outlook on it. And if you get a chance to see it, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, Adam, Jordan has a really cool one of one of the trolley cars, the San Francisco trolley cars.
Yeah.
But the way he's captured the wire on the top sparking, it's something really unique. Do another smile. Okay, perfect.